and welcome to the Bears Huddle podcast with me, your host, Owen James, guys. And we are going to talk running backs, exciting running back news after a draft where I think we were, like I said, I've said in videos, and I don't want to talk too much about it because I've already talked about it ad infinitum. We were a little bit disappointed not to pick up a Quinshon Judkins, a Travion Henderson, an Amarian Hampton, an Ashton Genty, a Cam Scatterbo, a Bayshon Tutin, a Damian Martinez, Caleb Johnson, or someone of that type. I think we were all blown away with the wide receiver room. Luther Burton, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. We were happy with the tight end room, Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet. And we were pretty delighted, I think, still with our quarterback, Mr. Caleb Williams. And, you know, I don't want to read any more of this crap on social media. Cleveland Brown fans and Colorado fans telling us that Shedeur Sanders is better and more talented than Caleb Williams. I think you're talking utter bull crap, if I'm being honest with you. Shedeur Sanders is our backup. That is it. And a very cocky, arrogant one at that. Right, so let's talk a little bit of Nick Chubb. Now, Nick Chubb obviously is a top running back in the NFL. A guy who has suffered in the last couple of seasons with that horrific knee injury that certainly held back his production and maybe is the reason why the Browns have allowed him to go to free agency and the Browns have allowed him to leave at the end of his contract and have not offered him an opportunity to stay with the Browns. But, you know, what's going on with the Browns? I mean, come on. I mean, let's face it. What is going on with the Browns? I mean, let's face it. The Browns are the Isle of Misfit Toys. They really are. But it does look pretty certain now that Nick Chubb will not be a Cleveland Brown at the start of the 2025 NFL season, and I think he may well be relieved to be out of that absolute hellhole, the biggest joke of NFL franchises out there. A Cleveland radio host spoke about Nick Chubb on a recent radio program in the Ohio area. He said that Chubb is not coming back to the Browns and is closing on a contract with an NFC North team in free agency. Now, obviously, you know, that gets tongues wagging. It gets brains whirring. It gets speculation going. Is it the Vikings? Is it the Packers? Is it the Lions? Or is it going to be, in fact, the Bears? And, you know, you look at the Packers roster. You look at the Lions roster. You look at the who missed out? The Lions, the Vikings, and the Packers. Probably the Packers, and let's face it, who cares about them? You know, look at their rosters. Realistically, is Chubb going to be a target for any of them? Probably not. And given the fact that, you know, I think it was felt the Browns did not get the running back they wanted, and I think Nick Poles has kind of alluded to why that was, that at key times when our picks fell, we'd already missed out on that player who'd gone a pick or two before the one we actually wanted. Obviously, I think, you know, Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins been those two. So it could be that Chubb is the man. Now, look, Nick Chubb is like I said, is a very good running back. Don't get me wrong. This is a guy who's got speed. He's got power. He's ability to break tackles. He can hurdle tackles. He can go round. He reads the game very well. He finds gaps. He is a beast of a running back. Now, there is obviously two major concerns over Nick Chubb. One, obviously, is how fully healed is he from that knee injury. Now, everyone says that he will be ready to go for training camp, but is there a weakness there from that injury? That's a concern. And the second, obviously, he's 29 years old. He's not a long-term kind of, you know, player to bring in. He's not a long-term piece for this roster. And if, obviously, you know, we are continuing to build through the roster and we are continuing to build through the draft and we're continuing to build young players into this team, then, you know, is he the right man for the job? Now, I think, you know, we look at the likes of Joe Tooney, who's certainly no youngster, no spring chicken. He's been brought in. And I don't think the Bears have solely gone down the youth route. They have brought in experienced players throughout free agency. Chubb has a very, very good record in the NFL, don't get me wrong. Had some pretty impressive seasons. Obviously, take out the last two, injury ravaged, injury hit. But, you know, you go back before those 2024, 2023 seasons to 2022, 2021 and 2020 and 2019, all 1,000-yard seasons for the Cleveland Rusher. I mean, go back to 2019, 1,494, 1,067 in 2020, the COVID season, 1,259 in 2021, 1,525 in 2022. And this is playing on a pretty crap team. This is playing on a team that has, you know, finished with some of the worst records in NFL history, a team that has struggled to be anything, a team that is just absolute garbage, that, you know, a team that's made the Bears look like the Kansas City Chiefs at times. He's also someone who can catch the ball out of the backfield, not consistently. It's not his big thing, but he still has that armory in there. He's also had seasons where he's rushed for double-digit touchdowns, 2020, 12, and that 2022 season where he rushed for over 1,500 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging 5.1 yards per carry. Other than last season, obviously, when Cleveland were absolutely dreadful, his yards per carry has always been good. 5.25, 5.5, 5.5, 5.1, 6.1, 3.3, 2024, obviously been the blip. He has only 7 fumbles across his entire time in the NFL, whilst rushing the ball, 1 whilst catching it. He is a very good running back, don't get me wrong. And, could this guy be a short-term possibility? I mean, a lot depends on how much he is looking for, how much his people are looking for in terms of, of a contract. And at the moment, we don't have a fabulous amount of cap space, but there are ways around that. You restructure other deals, you kick the can down the road, you offer him a minimum amount of contract for this season, but then a bigger payment next season. You offer him signing on fees. There's ways around this. The Patriots did it all the time with Tom Brady, for example. You sell him the idea of this is a win now team, Nick. You're coming to a team that's going to contend next season, a team that's going to do well next season, from a team that pretty much stank every season. I think it's a strong possibility. He is a very good player, and certainly could be an exciting addition to the Chicago Bears. He would certainly add to that backfield now, whether that is as a complement to DeAndre Swift or whether Swift is then traded away. Roschon Johnson, Kyle Monagai are the backups, but even DeAndre Swift and Nick Chubb, I think, could provide a very useful 1-2 punch. And if you're looking back across Ben Johnson's time with the Lions, he always went with that 1-2 punch, didn't he? Obviously David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, for example, very much a 1-2 punch there as well. So it would very much fit with the ethos that Ben Johnson brings to an offense. So a very interesting one. Is Chubb about to sign? Guys, let's keep our fingers crossed if you want that. Some of the people don't. I mean, some people still would prefer J.K. Dobbins, for example. He's another one who is out of contract and a free agent. Look, I think Nick Chubb would be a good acquisition. I do like Nick Chubb. I think he's a very good player. I think he's a very talented rusher. I think he's someone that could bring a lot to the Bears and certainly improve that running back room. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching the Bears Huddle podcast. On the way out, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And bear down. See you later, Chicago.